guys, what's up? It's your girl Ashley, and today we are back with another video. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Take the time to take care of all that good stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and hitting that bell notification. So today's video is titled Therapy 101, Basic Knowledge to Know Before Seeking a Therapist. And I want to take the time to say right now that I am going to limit this video to just talking about the very early stages of deciding if therapy is for you. There are a lot of things that I personally believe has to take place before even sitting down with a therapist and beginning your journey of discovery and self-growth and things of that sort. We're going to cover a couple of tools that is definitely necessary to have in your toolkit when seeking help. Jumping right into it, number one, the first thing is going to be self-reflection. Where are you at with the idea of therapy? How do you feel when you hear the word therapy? And it may sound very minor, but it is a huge staple in how your experience would unfold. I'm going to use myself as an example. I speak about therapy. I speak about my experiences with my therapist freely because I associate the thought of therapy and having a therapist with investing in my own growth. A real investment, money-wise and time-wise, commitment-wise, is for me. So I have no shame in having a therapist. I have no shame with seeking outside help because I associate it with a positive thought. So number one, you definitely want to take a minute to look at yourself and think, when I hear the words therapy or seeing a therapist, do I cringe? Am I excited? Is my heart yearning for this? Is this something that I can see myself doing with full acceptance? Asking yourself those questions is going to set the foundation of how your experience with your therapist is going to unfold. How it happens to you in here is how it's going to happen to you in real life. So you want to make sure that those two things align. Another thing that you want to keep in mind is where are you at when it comes to the self-work? And what I mean by that is what habits or coping mechanisms are you aware of that you do? But when hard times hit, what are you doing? And this is harder than it sounds because I do it all the time. I know it. But sometimes we like to think that what we do is what we do and that's it. But there are actual things that we do that we may not be aware of. So you want to take the time out to consider both things. Consider how you would like to handle things, but also be realistic with how you are handling things. Another major thing to consider is going to be your internal conversation. How do you talk to yourself? And boy, oh boy, that one is a big one. We're constantly talking to ourselves. There's constantly an exchange of words between that inner you. Or maybe it's just me. It might just be me. Y'all let me know if it's just me or if I'm tripping. But sometimes you get so caught up on doubting yourself. Sometimes you get so caught up on talking against yourself that you don't even realize how much power you've given these words that you don't even mean. Your internal conversation is going to play a huge role in therapy from day one. Think about it like this. If you're somebody that's always expecting the worst and you have these internal conversations with yourself of everything that could possibly go wrong, if you're not aware of the exchange going on in here, when you go to therapy, you're going to naturally look for something wrong. So you might end up aborting mission with that process before you get the breakthrough that you want. So the more sessions you have, more of a rapport that you build with your therapist, your internal conversation becomes clearer to you and it changes. Hopefully for the better for everybody, but it does change. And you realize how much control you have over it. But you have to come in with a certain amount of understanding of that. Last point, for reflection is going to be your willingness. How willing are you to commit to this process from beginning to end? And let me just tell y'all, being a willing person, that has been like the biggest saving grace in my life. You may not be a perfect person. I'm realizing more and more every day that those type of people don't exist. You may not execute everything to your liking the first time or even the second time or even the 13th time. But when you are a willing person, people that genuinely care about you, they see that. The willingness goes hand in hand with the patience that we have for one another or for situations. Being a willing person is going to be a big deal. You're going to go into therapy some days, and some days it's going to feel amazing. Some days it's going to feel like you moved a boulder, and then some days it's going to feel almost like nothing, very regular. And your willingness is going to keep you grounded to the process through those ways. I think a lot of people come into the therapy with the mindset of it's supposed to be something grand every session, huge, noticeable, measurable growth. And that's not always the case. But if that isn't the case, how willing are you to commit? How willing are you to stay the course? How willing are you to keep this going and trying? How willing? How willing are you? Moving right along to number 2. I feel like I don't have any other way to put this other than having a spirit of discernment. This process is almost like dating. Let's be real. When you start dating somebody, on top of how they make you feel, you want to think about the person that you are looking at. Now, please don't take this out of context when I say that, but I feel like there's a stigma behind therapy that the moment that you hear the word, you envision a psych ward with straight jackets and this person that looks like bland Cheerios behind a clipboard judging you. And that is not the case. But we have this facade of that's what therapy and self-help and mental awareness is, to the point where when you go into these sessions and you see a regular human being sitting in front of you, you're taken aback, like, what is this? You know? And although not running into the Cheerio guy would be a great thing, because mentally in here you already decided how this was supposed to go and now you're not getting that, your first instinct is going to be to retreat. You want to seek help with the spirit of discernment. And these lines, for me personally speaking, crosses in a spiritual realm, but it also crosses in a profession realm for me. I'll use myself as an example for this one. So my therapist, she is so bomb. I want to say that I found my therapist on a website called Therapy for Black Girls, and there was so many different options. I do this a lot with how I decide, but it's just something in here that I allow to lead with. So I came across my therapist's profile, and the first thing that spoke to me was her sense of style. My therapist is fly, y'all. She get dressed. Okay, not in a materialistic way. It's a reflection. She's so beautiful inside that it is oozing out of her into her clothing, into like her persona, into like, this is who she is to the world. That was big to me because some of my own personal struggles and things that I wanted to gain from therapy is self-awareness. That was a big factor for me, that I knew that I can trust her. I can see that she's comfortable in her own image. So therefore, I'm going to learn and gain comfort in my own image by using her as a resource. Another thing that you want to pay attention to is, what energy do you get from this person? Outside of their physical appearance, what is the vibe that you're getting? Are you comfortable? What do you feel from that person? Usually they say opposites attract. I feel like you have to find the right balance with things. My therapist is very patient. My therapist is very grounded. I think that would be the best word. I'm an air sign. So I'm like up here floating and, you know, party over here and wherever the wind blows. And I knew that groundedness is what I needed. So you want to make sure that the vibe matches, but you also want to make sure that you're getting what you need, you know, where you may not see eye to eye on everything, but ultimately we all know what we need. Pay attention to those things. I think it's super important to remember that your therapist is a whole person out here, meaning they have their own beliefs, meaning they have their own morals, they have their own values, they have their own life experiences. This is where that black and white line meets for me, because going into therapy, I knew, hey, this is a job. I don't think that you should go into therapy naive. I think that you should go in as aware as possible, but then also as open to an experience as possible. And the more aware you are of that, the more power you have to choose, is this person for you or not? If you are young, live your life carefree, and you probably have a fresh page to start over and write your book however you want, it might not be ideal for you to go see a family orientated therapist that had like pictures of her entire family around the office. That might not be your scene. That might not be y'all might not be riding the same vibration. Or for me, I think the struggle that I found was coming from New York, fast-paced, big city life in just a liberal state, and then coming to the South and meeting not so much that people in these professions. And to me, it automatically felt like, how much can you help me if you already have a noticeable judgment on my lifestyle? One thing that I did notice from therapists is not being able to read too much of their personal life on them is actually a good thing. You want to make sure that you either have a blank canvas in front of you. They're just here for you, for what you can make out of the session, or somebody that's similar to you, or even somebody that has a good balance of the both. Sometimes with my therapist, I feel like she comes clean slate, and that works for us, because now I know that anything that I'm seeing and I'm bouncing off of her is purely me. Like, it's not a projection at all. And moving right along into number 3, we're actually going to play a game. I'm going to play a game of true or false. I'm going to share some statements, and I'm going to answer them true or false. Jumping right into it. Therapy is like waving a magic wand and all my problems should go away. True or false? I'm going to say false. Don't mind my handwriting and my lack of artsiness. I just thought about this. I'm having a super impulsive moment and we're going with it. The answer is false. Therapy is not like waving a magic wand and all of a sudden your problems go away. Therapy is not walking into a room and somebody just knowing everything that you've been through and having all the answers for you. That is not true. Therapy is actually going to take some true effort. It is a journey. It is not a destination. We are human beings. We are not robots where you could just go in and kind of do your analysis, and not like that. Like, things are deeply wired and intertwined and connected to beliefs and emotions and all types of things. If there's anything to take from this video, it doesn't matter what you've been through. It doesn't matter how long of suffering you might have had on this earth. Ultimately, you know deep down inside what's good for you and what you need, and a therapist is going to help you and guide you into getting into that place with yourself. But there is still work from self that has to come from it. So the answer to that is false. The next one, there isn't a right or wrong to therapy. That is true. I think that a great therapist supplies a safe space for you to learn new things and unlearn whatever things you may need to unlearn. But I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it, as far as, oh, if I don't see results by the 3rd session, then this isn't going right. That is creating a limited belief, and you end up boxing yourself in with these I don't want to say unrealistic, because maybe it could work like that. Maybe it does work like that for some people, but I don't want to limit myself. I want therapy long term. I want to build a long-term relationship. I'm not giving this a time span for myself. You never know what happens in life. Things change. I met my therapist at 25. Who am I going to be at 30 or 32? You know, so what will be the point of starting these limitations of right or wrong when we change, we evolve on the regulars? Getting what you need moment to moment, day to day, and staying in that present, then it shouldn't be a right or wrong. It's just a you thing. Like, okay, my favorite one. Labels and diagnosis means that you're crazy or something is wrong with you. Oh my God, don't we love to beat ourselves up like that all the time? Yeah. False. There is nothing wrong with labels. That just reminded me of back in the day. You ask your parents for ups and they bring you like Fat Farm sneakers or something like that. That actually happened to me for cheerleading in 6th grade. But anyways, not gonna digress. Labels, they help you to key in, to generalize, group characteristics together. We all experience different heights and spurts and lows with our emotions. This is just a label that identifies my need. Y'all already know, if y'all been really following me, with the mind tricks, the safety hack, the keywords. Sometimes when you hear words like depressed, you already know what depressed means. Depressed is a very low, sad place. When you hear depression, you want to associate that with having support. But if you just are experiencing like excessive sadness, you have no idea what that is, of course that's going to make you feel worse about what you're experiencing, because on top of what you're experiencing, you probably feel like you're the only one out there that's experiencing that. And at this point, I love labels. Go ahead and label me. Regardless of what any label that somebody puts on you, the only important thing is the label that you put on yourself and how you feel about yourself. I like having answers, knowing that I can go and I can research and I can implement better ways of approaching these emotional states in my life. I like having answers. I'm sorry. I don't want to be lost. I don't want to stay hidden and fearful of what somebody else thinks about me. It doesn't make you feel any healthier. So, false. And my last one is going to be therapy is a business transaction. True. I love the business aspect of it. I love the transaction of like, hey, this is an investment. This is what I'm paying for. Sometimes we rely on talking to our friends. We rely on talking to family members and the people closest to us. And we think that their answers are the right answers. I like the fact that therapist is somebody that went and they invested real time and effort to go to school to study. This is a job for them. Work ethic is going to speak for itself. You know when people are passionate about their job, and I like that safety. Still going back to what we said before, finding somebody that you vibe with, but also realizing that they have extra things to get you to where you need to go. And then now you have the safety of the business part behind it. As long as I schedule on this day, and as long as my insurance covers this part, there's no emotional attachment to it. We're both here because we want to be. That's what I like about the business transaction. People take pride in the work that they do, and I feel like that speaks volumes. Focus on that. Don't focus on, oh, you see 1,000,001 people. Yeah, they see 1,000,001 people and they might be great at what they're doing. They might be great at balancing 1,000,001 people and letting go 1,000,001 emotions that don't need to be lingering. Respect the hustle, y'all. And find somebody that respects their hustle. That is one of the ways that my therapist serves as an inspiration. She is bomb. She sells books on the side. She has newsletters and groups, and she's a part of other events, and she was in the newspaper, and she does amazing things business wise. It's not limited to just being in this office. She has personal goals and she progresses. She's an example for her clients. So don't fear the business part. Just make sure that you're getting what you need out of it. All that I have for you today. I really hope that this video helps you in some sort of way on your own personal journey. If you are somebody that's looking into personal help or looking for a therapist, good luck. Shout outs to everybody that's still with me to the end of this video. If you loved it, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Hopefully you are subscribed already. If you're not, go ahead and take care of that. You know what to do. And hit that bell's notification, y'all. And I will see you guys in the next video. Later.